More than half of the cars on the roads were produced more than 10 years ago. And here, Japanese and German brands are definitely in the lead, famous for their reliability and durability. Engines of German cars can easily overcome the 500,000 kilometers mark, and engines of Japanese brands often work much longer. At the same time, the engine life of average Koreans, Americans, and French cars is usually limited to 150 to 200,000 kilometers. And yes, this is far from the best indicator. Today we will tell you about those cars for which neither age nor mileage is important. We have compiled a list of real long livers. I wonder who made it into our top. Let's figure it out. 7th place goes to the 6th generation Volkswagen Golf. This car is well worth getting into our top, but be careful with robotic gearboxes and DSG. This is not the most successful version of modern robots. But the manual gearbox has proven itself to be very reliable. TSI engines on the secondary market are best avoided, as well as in the Octavia A5 model, as they can cause trouble. The best choice for purchase is a naturally aspirated 1.6-liter engine. Of course, it is not as fast, but at the same time it practically does not cause problems in operation. Diesel engines are also good, and they are worth paying attention to. It is not for nothing that the Golf is produced in huge quantities all over the world and still remains one of the most popular cars. 6th place in our rating is Skoda Octavia. This is a time-tested car which, with careful maintenance, can serve 15 years or more. It is equipped with a strong, rigid suspension, reliable mechanics, clutch, and brakes. If you do not skimp on buying high-quality spare parts listed above, the car will travel another 100 to 200,000 kilometers without any problems. This is an excellent indicator for a car in its class. Of course, before making a decision, be sure to read reviews on forums, talk to Octavia owners, and learn all the intricacies of operating this car. Octavia, in all its generations, remains an excellent choice. The only question is the age of the car and your budget. Among the disadvantages, it is worth noting the weak automatic transmissions, as well as the lack of any sophistication in design and technical stuffing. But for some, on the contrary, this is a plus, a classic after all. There is plastic in the cabin, which over time can begin to creak and crack, but this is not critical. Despite this, Octavia is popular, especially among taxi company owners. And if taxi drivers choose these cars, this says a lot. They will not choose cars that often break down and require expensive repairs. 5th place is occupied by the 2nd generation Mazda 3BL. All engines of this model are highly reliable and durable, which also applies to gearboxes. Both automatic and manual transmissions do not suffer from typical ailments. The car body is well protected from corrosion, and if the car was not seriously damaged in an accident, then you are unlikely to find traces of rust. However, it is worth noting that the interior is not so resistant to wear. By 100,000 kilometers of mileage, most owners begin to get into a deplorable state. This is especially true for the steering wheel, gear lever, armrest, and door panels. But in terms of other units, the Mazda 3 is quite capable of going 100,000 kilometers without causing any special problems. This is a worthy place in our rating. 4th place in our rating is the Honda Civic. This car was introduced back in 1972, and since then, 10 generations have been released, each of which is in demand on the secondary market. Honda Civic attracts with excellent controllability and a reliable engine with a resource of 300 to 350,000 kilometers. With regular maintenance, the 1.8-liter engine can cover 500,000 kilometers, so there is no need to worry. The car also has a well-thought-out dashboard, good dynamics, and reliable suspension. As for gearboxes, the situation is not so clear-cut. The automatic works without complaints, but the robotic transmission can fail due to wear of parts, so you should be careful with it. The Civic also has its drawbacks, low ground clearance and poor sound insulation, but this does not affect its overall reliability. Another disadvantage is the quickly wearing out seat upholstery, and owners sometimes have to wait a long time for spare parts, and they pay a lot of money for them. Interestingly, by the condition of the seats, you can easily determine the real mileage of the car. If they are in good condition, it means the car was serviced well and covered its kilometers without serious problems. 3rd place in our rating is taken by the 1st generation Toyota Auris. Although this hatchback cannot boast the same reliability as the Corolla, it is still a worthy choice. All petrol engines are recommended, as well as the smallest diesel unit. It is especially reliable. As for space, for its size, Auris provides enough space for both the driver and the front passenger. In the back, 2 people are also quite tolerable. The trunk is quite roomy. In terms of spare parts, The choice is simply huge. You can find both original and contract, disassembled or Chinese, and all this in a wide price range. An additional bonus will be excellent ground clearance, 165 millimeters from the lowest point, which will allow you to drive to the dacha without problems, for example. This indicator was quite decent for its time. Second place goes to the Audi A4, which deservedly made it into our top 5 long livers. This German representative is distinguished by its excellent reliability. On the secondary market, Audi A4 mileages can reach 700,000 and even 1 million kilometers, and the car easily passes the 350,000 kilometers declared by the manufacturer. Despite the high mileage, the Audi A4 retains its rigid suspension, and the engine runs like clockwork. The only downside is the clearance, which is only 11 centimeters. But to solve this problem, you can install spacers. However, it is still impossible to drive for a long time on our roads, with potholes and bumps without repairs. So it is worth monitoring the technical condition and servicing the car in a timely manner. Yes, repairing German cars is expensive, and specialized car services can require significant costs. But despite this, the Audi A4 is in good demand and occupies one of the leading places in reliability among secondary market cars. The first place is deservedly taken by the Toyota Corolla in the E150 body. There is a large selection of these cars on the secondary market, and unlike the Octavia, it is easier to say what to avoid. Robotic gearboxes are a weak point, since they can jerk when switching, go into neutral or overheat the friction linings of the clutch. It is also worth paying attention to the steering column, where over time play may appear in the crosspiece and steering shaft pinion. But all 3 Corolla engines are simple, naturally aspirated engines with distributed injection, which are highly reliable. The manual gearbox and classic automatic are also in order, without any obvious flaws. The car's chassis is also at its best. The body is resistant to corrosion, the electrics work properly, and the car itself will not cause much trouble in operation. In general, the Corolla is a standard of reliability and durability, tested by time and users. Here's our rating of long-lived cars. These cars have proven their ability to withstand many years of operation and overcome large mileages without serious breakdowns if they are properly maintained. And, of course, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like it. This helps promote the video. Thank you for your attention and see you soon.